And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young.
Hello, Chicago, live. Welcome to this live Thursday, December the 1st edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, I'm going to recap and preview everything going on in the world of Chicago sports. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ringside_rep. I feel fine. The voice is going. I had to record a couple of things for Ringside Report today, and Tony don't do much talking, so I had to do most of it. And so the voice is going. I think it's the end of my cold. It's usually the last step of it, so hopefully, and I have to record Friday's show a little bit later on, so hopefully by the time I do my next live show Monday, this sounds back to my beautiful voice that you're used to. So yeah, that's that. A lot of things to talk about today. Not sure what I really wanted to open up the show with. There's a lot of stuff to cut, but I'm trying to separate it between two shows because I also want to address it on tomorrow's show because we will not be recapping the Blackhawks and Devils tomorrow because I'm recording it tonight, so that will be on Monday's show. So we'll be previewing a lot, but I also want to address some of the big stories going around tomorrow, but also kind of have an opportunity because we only have two things to talk about today. So I think what we're going to do is open it up with the Bulls, then do how we do with the divider with the Windy City Sports Minute. And then I'll get into some of the stories, and we'll preview the puck dropping tonight between the Blackhawks and the Devils at the Madhouse. Let's talk about them Chicago Bulls last night against the Lakers. Nick Young's out, or what do they call him? Easy G, or that's not what they call him, but whatever the heck his name is. He was out. D'Angelo Russell was out. Looked like, and the Bulls were up, I think, at one time almost by 20 points, so they had an opportunity to really try to take control and really dominate. And then all of a sudden it was like a 1-point game at halftime. Then you saw a lot during this game where the Bulls just were not playing good, sloppy basketball, and they end up losing a final of 96-90. Now, what we saw last night was what we saw in the two games the Bulls lost on that circus road trip, and that was that they do not know how to close out games. One thing they really miss right now, and I said it yesterday, because I said that sometimes this Bulls team, to watch them, is so frustrating. But the way that the Bulls came out and played, you can really tell that they miss Tom Thibodeau. And because the one thing they are now missing is they're scoring. They're doing a good job of scoring, but they're not defending on the other side. And that's one thing that the Bulls did very, very well with Tom Thibodeau and was very known for, was having the defense. Now, I'm still not really 100% sold on Fred Hoiberg. I don't know if I ever will be because I'm not really sure how long he's actually going to be the head coach of the Bulls. But I'm still just trying to. I just don't know. I mean, this team at times is very frustrating to watch. If you only played one half in basketball, this team would probably be undefeated because they come out of the box from the opening tip-off and play very, very good for the first half. Then all of a sudden, in the second half, they just don't play well, and they let everything go, and it goes right, and it's the opposing team that takes control, does the damage, and they ended up winning. So that's what the Bulls have had troubles with, and that's what they did last night. Just an ugly game. I mean, Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, they continue to do their thing and whatever, but this team, it's just frustrating because you know this team has the ability to win games. We saw they started out the season with 4 wins, but now you're starting to see that Bulls team that everyone is kind of expecting that, okay, here we go. And, I mean, it's not good. I mean, you want to see this team to be able to come out and be a playoff contender. And, I mean, out of the box, you're like, this is too good to be true. But now you're just wishing you could have, like, absorbed some of that and really been like, okay, or embraced it, bottled it up, and say, you know what, this is the team we could take all year. Because really, we haven't seen it since that opening stretch. The defense, like I said, has not been good. And they've been giving up a lot of, and it's just been sloppy basketball. And I know they played well in Los Angeles, and you're supposed to come home. And I mean, even in the beginning of the game, Stacey King, Neil Funk, they were talking about it, how this was definitely a catch kind of game. Because the Bulls could have easily came out and not played well because it's their first game at home after that almost 2 weeks on the road. And they they did play well in the first half, and then the second half, we saw that team that they were talking about. We saw a team that was not playing up to their full potential. And I mean, you got a good core there. It's just, you really don't know what's going to happen. And I mean, there's with the trade, there's possible rumors of the Bulls possibly making a trade, which I think would be big for this team, because if the Bulls can add one more piece to this puzzle, and then and get Doug McDermott back and get Michael Carter-Williams back, this team has the opportunity to do something special. And like I said, I think this team, when they're playing their best, they look like a top 5 in the East. Which is, for even that, saying that, probably 2 through 5, is still not that much of a compliment, because the East is dreadful. So you really got to try to put everything in perspective and hope that this Bulls team really comes out and can get going. I mean, them are some ugly games, and now they got to play the best team in the East, them Cleveland Cavaliers, tomorrow night. Now, that's not going to be an easy game by any means. That's going to be a tough one. The best part probably is going to be seeing LeBron James come to the United Center and Cubs stuff, because of course that was a bet between him and Dwayne Wade. So I mean that'll be the enjoyment of that. And I don't think the Bulls, if you give me the over/under, if they're going to lose by 15.5, I would say over. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game tomorrow night, because if this team comes out, I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot and they struggle in the first half and did what they can do, that you have more of a chance of winning the basketball game, because if you can go on one of them tears late, you have an opportunity to win. So I think this team is capable of winning. We've been able to see that. But it's just, they play one half. It's like the Cleveland Browns. And I don't think I ever would compare a team to the Cleveland Browns, but that is what this Chicago Bulls team is. They only play one half. And it's always the first half. And then they were up by almost 20. And I think they let their guard down a little bit. And Fred Hoiberg, I don't think knows what the heck to say, because in his press conference after the game last night, he didn't sound like he knew anything. Because I don't think he really does. He was thrown into the mix here last year. I mean, he coached in college, but I think when you coach college basketball to coaching NBA basketball, it's pretty different. I mean, he didn't even get a chance to get his feet wet as an assistant. He just got thrown right into the fire. And in Chicago, with the drama of Derrick Rose and yada yada. And he's the one that had to do that. So it's unfortunate for him. I'm still not a real big fan of him. He just stands there. He's like the Lovie Smith of basketball, where he just stands there, shows no emotion, and that's it. So maybe we'll eventually get something else out of him. But right now, you're not getting anything from this from this team. And hopefully they can they have a couple of tough games coming up this weekend. We'll talk about more about them tomorrow, because they'll get ready to host the Cavs and then be hosted by the Mavs in Dallas on Saturday. So that is what is on tap for them, but that's a game you need to win. That was the Lakers' 10th win. They did not get their 10th win last year till February. So that tells you how much of an improvement it is. It's a young team led by, you got to give credit to Luke Walton, new head coach there. He's done a tremendous job with that team, so he's been able to help the Lakers. Not sure, in the West it's very hard to win and get in the playoffs. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they're a playoff caliber team, but I think they're very close to possibly making themselves a playoff caliber team. So good job to them. They get to win the series. They split the season series, and the Bulls win in Los Angeles, and the Lakers win in Chicago. So Bulls, I'm not even sure what their record is anymore, but they'll get ready to host the Beast in the East, the reigning NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers, tomorrow night. And we got some stories to talk about. We got an update. Of course, a lot of people know about Jay Cutler. The Chicago, the Sportsman of the Year was announced today. And I'm going to address all that stuff. And because I want to save a couple stories for tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But, of course, we still got 20 minutes left. Still a fresh show. But we got the Windy City Sports Minute. This This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Thursday, December the 1st. Well, the Bulls were back on the court for the first time at the United Center since the Circus road trip, finishing that 4-2. They had up to almost a 20-point lead over the Los Angeles Lakers, but then once again, the second half, they collapsed and lose with a final of 96-90 to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Blackhawks will be back on the rink tonight at the United Center. They are going to host the New Jersey Devils, a 7:30 start on Comcast Sports. And MLB and the Players Union comes to an agreement. The CBA is official, signed through 2021, so there will be baseball and everything, and the winter meetings will be back on schedule, of course, for on Monday. And, of course, Tiger Woods back on the links tonight and in the Bahamas. Currently, he was at a 1 under par, and we'll keep you updated as that progresses. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. We're back here on Windy City Sports Talk for this Thursday. We are live. Appreciate everyone that tunes in as always. I got confirmation yesterday from the one and only Scott Beatty. He'll be joining me on Monday. I guess we can open up with that story. Of course, the lockout is officially over for Major League Baseball. So glad to hear about this because obviously, like I've continued to say, and if you've listened to two shows, you realize that baseball is baseball and basketball are the two sports I know the most about, and baseball is my passion completely. So it's great to see that. So it's great to see baseball come to the agreement. Tony, who I do Ringside Report with, called me last night because he knew I was up. I wouldn't say distraught about it, but definitely upset because baseball is my sport, and to see it be affected. And on top of that the Cubs won the World Series, and I want to see this team be able to defend their championship this season, or coming up in 2017. I wanted the opportunity to be able to see that. So he called me and said that they agreed, and it is beneficial. I think they're still working out the kinks, and they're still kind of bringing stuff out. But it was a very interesting showing. And it is through 2021, so a 5-year deal. So this won't have to be talked about for a while. And it seems like baseball, I mean, all the other sports is like pulling teeth, and they have to meet for days and days and days. And eventually, it eventually happens. MLB just kind of did it right under the table, and then all of a sudden they're like, boom, we're done. And I think that's great. That's exactly what you wanted to see, and I love it. And a couple of things that came out of it. 3 things so far. There has now, because usually they have I think they have the 7-day disabled list, and I think that's for concussions. So, but the lowest you can put someone on is a 15-day disabled list. Well, now they have lowered that to 10. Now, I'm not sure if that doesn't mean that the 15-day disabled list is gone, but they now have a 10-day disabled list. So that's not going to exactly jump right off the tongue after saying 15 days, but I mean someone that just has a little bit of an injury and having to usually when you're on the disabled list, you can't remove them until them 15 days are done. So to be able to get that out of the way is great, and so a 10-day excuse me. Oh, I'm battling through this, folks. The 10-day disabled list is good. And then another thing, chewless are now smokeless tobacco is now illegal, but I'm kind of getting mixed stories on this. One of the stories I heard is that it's just for the people now coming up to the majors, so that means all the major leaguers right now are, I wouldn't say eligible, but allowed to chew tobacco. Now, there are certain cities, and Chicago's one of them, that apparently have banned smokeless tobacco. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I really don't pay. I mean, I watch a lot of Cub games, but I never noticed that they have any tobacco. Sunflower seeds, yes, but now that I think about it, the last person I really ever remember ever having tobacco, I mean, Sammy Sosa used to have a big wad in his cheek. And I think it's a great thing to not have it because the late, great Tony Gwynn had tobacco in his mouth, and he got I think he had mouth cancer is what he died from. So, I mean, if you look up pictures of Tony Gwynn when he had the mouth cancer, it was terrible. I mean, like, it looked like he still had a wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth, and he also did kudos to him. He was able to do commentary. He still did commentary with the San Diego Padres like that. So, I mean, it's very difficult. I had to see him like that. But I think, I heard it today on a radio show that I think the Gwynn family should definitely be spokespeople to say, hey, you don't want this to do it. You don't want to do this. So all MLB players coming up now will not be able to do, have smokeless tobacco. So, and there's some, I want to say Boston I saw in there. I'm not sure if New York. So a lot of, so that's good. And again, sunflower seeds kind of the main thing now. So that's nice. So that's the, and then the main one, and I want to kind of gripe on this a little bit, is the Major League Baseball All-Star Game was here in Milwaukee. Well, not here in Milwaukee, but in Milwaukee in 2002. And it ended in a tie because they ran out of players. So then after that, the commissioner at the time, Bud Selig, was like, okay, let's make this game more something. So they decided to say whoever wins that game, National League or American League, will get the home field advantage in the All-Star Game. Well, that's happened ever since up through this year. Like this year, the Cubs had 103 wins, but the American League won the All-Star Game, so then they had to make that, so then the Indians, who didn't have the best record, still got to host. Now that is official in the agreement that the All-Star Game will not matter. You can no longer win the All-Star. Whoever wins the All-Star game wins the All-Star game. That is no longer with it. It will be the best record. Now, before Major League Baseball did this, they also did before they did the All-Star game where home field advantage, they used to rotate every year. But now, whoever has the better record. So, I mean, last year, and I said it, I mean, possibly a year too late, whatever. But the Cubs won the World Series, so I'm not going to go on a tirade about that. Because actually, you never know, because the Cubs actually did not play well. Did not play well at home in the World Series. I think a lot of pressure was on them. They almost lost the World Series at home. They won that final game on the Sunday and was able to get it back. So I think a very good job by Major League Baseball to do that. And the Cubs won 3 out of their 4 games to win the World Series in Cleveland. So I think that is big, and I think that's glad to change. And hopefully the Cubs can get back there this year or next year. And this team can get back to and have the best record. Because if that would have happened this past year, the Cubs would have had home field advantage. But again, they did not play well at home. So is it really that it's not really a problem? Because it's done. So that's that. So that was the MLB. So no lockout. Everything's going to go on as planned. The winter meetings are going to go on next week. And then nothing really for baseball after that until winter meetings. Or not after the winter meetings, but then nothing till about February. Pitchers and catchers report. Get spring training in March. For the second straight year, I will not be here for opening day. I will be be covering WrestleMania this year in Orlando. Last year, got a chance to go to a Texas Rangers spring training game against the Indians when I was in Texas, and they're getting a new ballpark. I already talked about that. But, so, for the second straight year, I'm going to have to watch the Cubs. Last year were in Anaheim, so I got to watch it after I got back. But this year they'll be in St. Louis, so second straight year, I'm going to miss opening day, and if I'm still doing the show then, I'm hoping to be able to do some shows from Orlando, which I think would be very, very fun to be able to do that. Okay, so there's baseball, and we'll have winter meeting talk next week. Monday, Scott Beatty will be joining me. We're going to have a full half-hour hot stove, where we're going to discuss all the hot topics of Major League Baseball, the awards that happened, the Cubs signings that took place, signing John Jay. He was talking to me. I was messaging with him yesterday. There's a lot of he's not a very Mr. Scott Beatty is not a happy man, and so I'm sure he'll come on here and complain a little bit and his thoughts. And definitely something I agree with too is how long baseball games were. Now, regular season to postseason, regular season games were so much faster because not every pitch was micromanaged. Like in the playoffs, it was just. I mean, I could watch baseball, and I told Scott this. I could watch baseball from morning to night. But there were some of them playoff games where like, oh my Lord, and Joe Madden micromanaged and all that stuff. And I mean, I'm completely okay with that, and that happens. But still, I just want to be able to enjoy a fast-paced game, especially when I'm at the games. I like fast-paced 1-0 games. But I don't get that all the time. Because I enjoy baseball, but I also have the ADHD inside me, which I don't think I have. It's just the impatience, just want to see a fast game and get the heck home. Especially especially a night game. Because it's a toll. It's a workout. That's why I don't go to many games anymore, because it's exhausting to go to a game when you're an hour and a half away. And yeah. So I'm glad baseball will be back. And, of course, a lot of rumors about Andrew McCutchen possibly going to the Nationals. And that Mets team signing, you want to Cespedes. So we'll get into anything and any new details we'll talk about with Scott Beatty. And that'll be on Monday's show, Hot Stove Edition. So we won't be able to recap the weekend really until Tuesday's show. But if you guys folks that'll enjoy baseball, me and Scott will yammer away. Not sure if there's any days next week. Let's see here. The next week, the Hawks play Tuesday and Friday. And the Bulls play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Maybe Friday. No, they play Saturday then. So they play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Hawks play Tuesday, Friday. So neither team plays Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So almost every day. So we'll have something to talk about all week. So yeah, that's that. The other thing I want to talk about, we'll have some things to talk about on tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's show I want to talk about Tiger Woods. He went back on the links today. We'll talk about that tomorrow. There was another story I want to talk about tomorrow too. Oh, Conor McGregor. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And again, that will not be a live show, but we won't be previewing the Blackhawks and the Devils. We will have that on Monday's show. No, we won't. I don't know. We'll have it on Tuesdays. You get it. Scott Beatty just wrecks everything. But anyway, what I want to talk about is the Sportsman of the Year. And it was announced today, of course, it's a Sports Illustrated thing. And Sports Illustrated came out with it, and there was a bunch of nominees. And the Cubs were on there. But it was a lot of individuals like Vince Scully, Steph Curry. And your winner was LeBron James. Now, I've always had a dislike, and it used to be a hatred, now it's a dislike. But it's slowly starting to become hatred again. It just gets on my nerves. Just the thought of him always being at everything, and just the way he did this little flexing and all that when Rajai Davis hit that game-tying home run to only watch his team lose. I don't know, but I think the Cubs, the story, 108 years. It's Sportsman of the Year. I don't know if it's ever been given to a team before, but I think they should have been able to. I thought the Cubs should have won it. I thought it would have been a great gesture to kind of put the icing on the cake, whatever. But LeBron gets it because Cleveland. I heard someone from Sports Illustrated this morning on radio, and he said that really, if you think about it, LeBron James had a great run by himself. Yes, the Cubs ended a 108-year drought, and that's a good story. But also you got to think about the city-wise. Now, the sports city for Chicago had 6 NBA championships with Michael Jordan. They've had 3 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks. They have had 2 World Series, 1 on each side. So they have been luxurious, and they have a Super Bowl in '85. So the city of Chicago has been able to embrace and enjoy championships. When on the other side, Cleveland, they haven't had one since I think the last time the Indians won one, until this past summer when the Cleveland Cavaliers won the championship. Now, in that Game 7 between the Warriors and the Cavs, if the Warriors win that game, and the Cavaliers lose, you're probably looking at the Cubs being Sportsman of the Year. Now, I don't think no one's going to make a big deal about this because guess what? The Cubs won the World Series. And I think right now that is the main point here. The Cubs are World Series champions. You'd rather have that. Just like all them other awards. No one made a big deal that Max Scherzer won the Cy Young Award against two Cubs because the Cubs got the bigger thing. The Cubs are World Series champions. And it's exactly how everyone keeps phrasing it. And people have asked me, how does it feel that the Cubs won a World Series? And I agree with everyone that said it. You can't put it into words. You just got to embrace it. You got to enjoy it. And I mean, I love it. I mean, it's just a great feeling. And that's why I'm so glad baseball's going to be back this season, because you can celebrate. It's a year-long celebration, and you want to be the team. You want to defend that Stanley Cup. And that's what this team's getting an opportunity to do. They're going to get the chance to defend that, or not the Stanley Cup, defend the World Series. I'm sorry. Defend that World Series all year, and they want to be able to, like I said, I wonder if there's been a team to win the World Series and then lose it the next year in the World Series. Because I know I think the last team to win back-to-back was the 90s Yankees. So, I mean, you get that, but so that's my gripe there. And of course, like I said, other news that we're going to address tomorrow, Tiger Woods' return to the course today in the Bahamas. And of course, Conor McGregor, the news that broke last night on ESPN. And again, them two stories will kind of squeeze in the middle of previewing a busy Chicago sports weekend. The Bulls and Blackhawks both play twice. And then also, the Chicago Bears are back on the gridiron. And tickets are going for really cheap, like $30. So if you want your chance and always thought you couldn't afford to go to a Bear game, I don't still want to go in the winter. I'm just over. I mean, I went to so many. When I went with my ex, I used to go like 20 times a year to baseball games, and it kind of wore me out. I can go to it just seemed like I went to 8 this year. I mean, it's just exhausting. It takes you a couple days. So, yeah. So that's that. Okay, so now let's preview Blackhawks Devils for tonight. The Blackhawks will be back on the ice after getting a nice overtime win over the Florida Panthers. I don't think Taylor Hall is going to be back for the Devils. I'm going to go online and see if it says anything. Taylor Hall is back. It's the leading story on NHL.com. So that's big. So especially for the Devils, because now Taylor Hall being back, I think that's going to be, one of the young guys in the NHL, and I think he's definitely going to make a big statement tonight, and we'll see if he'll be able to keep that up. Let's see here. Where's the Hawks? Yeah, that's a 7:30 start. That game will be on Comcast Sportsnet Chicago. And, of course, only a 2-game homestand before going right back out onto the road. They'll be in Philadelphia tomorrow, or Philadelphia on Sunday. I'll take a look at the guys that they have. They have Mark Savard, who hasn't done anything yet, so I'm guessing he hasn't played. Taylor Hall, who, like I said, is returning 5 goals and 7 assists in 14 games. Their lead goal scorer is Severson. No, I lied. It is Camilleri. And they also have Fiddler and Zajac and Henrique. So, but Taylor Hall, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. So he's looking to keep it going. Of course, for the Hawks, Marion Hossa leads with 11 goals. Corey Crawford, 11 and 6 with 19 games played. Corey Schneider, who we were just talking about the other day, former Vancouver Canucks goalie, 17 games, 8 and 6. He's allowed 44 goals. His save percentage is .914. So that is your matchup tonight between the Blackhawks and the Devils. We'll have a recap of that on Monday on the Windy City Sportsman, because again, Monday's all baseball. Tomorrow's show will not be live, but we're going to set you up for a delicious weekend of Chicago sports. I'm going to record that, I think, right after I'm done with this show. Then I think I'm going to relax for the night. And then relax this voice, because it's what I do. I mean, between Ringside Report and this, I need my voice, and then I won't be doing the show again until Monday. So that's all that. So we're going to preview Bulls Blackhawks weekend, and then also we'll preview Bears Niners and all, and we'll talk a couple more stories as well. That is all coming up on tomorrow's show. Everyone, have a great Thursday. We're back tomorrow at 3. Have a great day, Chicago.